Have you tried playing a new fighting game and you weren't able to do any of the moves, let alone a combo? Why am I spelling the alphabet with my thumbs just to do an uppercut? These are called motion inputs. Motion inputs are a vital part of fighting games that not only help identify the characters, but also help identify the gaming genre as a whole. Recently, and almost annually at this point, there's been an argument about motion inputs versus simple inputs. For those of you that don't know, motion inputs are something like a quarter circle plus punch, where simple inputs it's just forward punch. This conversation sparked up because 2XKO came out in its beta and it only had simple inputs. And then Hunter x Hunter Nin Impact also has a demo release where, of course, all of the controls are simple inputs. And just recently, it was announced that Invincible Versus is also going to have simple inputs. So why is this even a conversation to begin with? Motion inputs have been part of the DNA of fighting games since basically its inception. Needing to practice and learn your character is an important milestone when you learn a fighting game. But when you remove that barrier, it makes the game feel just a little less rewarding. For those of us that play fighting games pretty actively, it's like saying that all bicycles now require training wheels. Sure, it's great for people with physical disabilities, but for the rest of us, it kind of takes out the fun and the whimsy of the activity. You mean to tell me I can't ride with just 2 wheels? I gotta have 4? Motion inputs aren't supposed to be that easy. It's supposed to be something that's rewarding. Once you practice and learn your character, go online and win, you get to see the fruits of your labor. The learning barrier of being able to do a quarter circle forward motion or a DP motion seems to be a problem for a lot of people that don't normally play fighting games. One Google search will tell you the reason why people don't play fighting games is because the learning curve is too steep, the controls are unintuitive, and online is scary. So how do developers get new players to play fighting games? Well, you make a mechanic that makes it easier to do moves. Simple inputs. But do you know what else makes inputs just a little bit easier? Arcade sticks, fight sticks, joystick, buttons. This video is sponsored by Quamba. Quamba was nice enough to send me not just 1, but 2 fight sticks to review for you guys. Can I get some W's in the chat for Quamba? Thank you, Quamba. I love you. Love you. So firstly, we're going to start with the Drone 2. We're going to go ahead and open this bad boy up. Engineered for transportability, the Drone 2 is both lightweight and durable. The Drone 2 is Quamba's answer to the player's call for a cost-effective joystick that performs high-end, making it an excellent choice for both first-time buyers and traveling veterans. It comes with 30mm B30 buttons, an OV7 Omron switch joystick, a 3.5mm microphone input with a mute button control, full control panel, and it's good for the PS5, the PS4, and PC. And of course, it has the touchpad for the PlayStation inputs. And here we have the Titan. He's a bit of a bigger boy than the Drone 2, so we're gonna go ahead and open this and take a look. The tournament-ready Titan joystick for Qamba will help you take your gaming skill to the next level. The Titan joystick is compatible with the PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, and PC, and connects via wired USB. The spacing between the lever and the buttons has been extended for players who need more space and comfort. The smaller size also makes transporting the Titan joystick easy to pack in backpacks or luggage. Thank you, Qamba, for sponsoring the video. Simple inputs are exactly what they sound like. They make the game just a little bit easier when performing a fireball or a DP motion, which means it's going to allow people who normally don't play fighting games to enter the genre a lot easier, or if they just want to return to fighting games after being gone a long time. Now, to be fair and honest, there are some fighting games that are a lot of fun that only have simple inputs. I personally enjoyed games such as Power Rangers Battle for the Grid and DNF Duel. Battle for the Grid was a fighting game that was much like Marvel vs. Capcom. Instead, it had simple inputs. DNF Duel only had simple inputs, and they did it in a clever way where your specials actually cost mana. So yes, the specials were easier to perform, but you had a set amount of mana that you could only use your specials on. But sadly, both of these games didn't really perform that well.
Some might say they're a little bit stinky.
So a game only having simple inputs isn't going to save it. It's going to be other factors such as offline play and just single player content as a whole. So if simple inputs are supposed to bring in a bigger audience, but a lot of that audience still wants motion inputs, do we have to replace the motion inputs with simple inputs? No, we already have current day examples of what simple inputs and motion inputs in the same game look like. Street Fighter 6 has classic controls and modern controls. With classic controls, you have motion inputs, but you get full range of the character. You get to use his entire moveset. Meanwhile, modern controls allow the new player to still play the game with simple inputs, but you get to lose out on a little bit of damage and a little bit of the full moveset of the character. Grand Blue Versus is also an extremely good example of what having both motion inputs and simple inputs looks like. Grand Blue Versus had it to where if you used a simple input, your cooldowns on your special moves were a bit higher. But if you decided to do it the classic way and do the motion inputs, then your cooldown was basically gone. But don't ask me why. I looked up Grand Blue Versus Rising, and apparently they took away the simple input and motion input difference, so that way the simple input has no downside to the motion input, which is really stupid. I don't know why they did that. So while there is a clear benefit to having the simple inputs in a game, you don't have to choose one or the other. You can do both. The only thing they really need to do for any of these tag fighters is just make it where motion inputs are just a smidge better. Make it to where it doesn't use as many resources. Maybe it does just a fraction more damage, something. That way, for the people who want to optimize their gameplay and want to get really good at the game, can just learn the motion inputs. But for the people who just want to hop on for about 4 or 5 matches and then go touch some grass, they can just use the simple inputs. Ah, fucking mosquitoes! I don't think fighting games having only simple inputs is necessarily a bad thing. But if you want the game to have a little bit more personality and the characters to feel unique, then motion inputs will definitely make that happen. Like, imagine Marvel vs. Capcom 3 Ultimate and all of this shit that's happening on the screen is happening with a forward button or back button. That would be insane. You can even look at some characters that are identified by those motion inputs. Street Fighter being a huge case of that. You can take a look at Zangief, and if you think that doing a forward button feels the same thing for a grappler as doing a full half circle and a button, you'd be incorrect. Blanca has charge moves, which, by the way, I fucking hate those moves. Blanca charging at you at full speed as a lightning ball, it's a charge move. Some strategies are even dependent on the motion inputs. You look at Guile, and his entire strategy for basically all of Street Fighter has been to turtle in the corner, shoot a projectile, and then crouch and wait to DP when they jump in on you, which requires motion inputs. At a casual level, you don't really need that type of stuff. You really just want to get in there and you want to shoot some fireballs and hit some buttons. That's fine. Let them have simple inputs, but also include the motion inputs for the people who care a little bit more, who don't want to touch grass, who want to practice for hours, go online, and then beat their controller when they don't make it to diamond. Motion inputs aren't just an input. They're part of the identity of the genre. You can't go to games like Apex or Fortnite or CSGO and tell them that they're not allowed to bunny hop or they can't build structures at a certain speed. It's part of the game. It's part of what identifies this as an actual shooter, as its own game. Just like you can't expect MOBAs like League of Legends to just play the game for you. You have to read the items, understand what they do, and build around it. Every game has something that kind of defines it at a high level, and motion inputs a lot of the times are included in that conversation for fighting games. By the way, I'm not saying that motion inputs is what makes a person a good player. There's a lot of other things to consider. You have to have good neutral. You have to have good footsies. You got to know your character. You got to know the other player's character. You got to know how to block. You got to have an Ethernet cord, because if you go online and you play on Wi-Fi, you deserve to have all of your milk spoiled. So basically, the solution to the argument of motion inputs or simple inputs is neither. Just have both. Let the player decide which one they want to do. And for God's sake, can we stop adding an extra button for dash? I already have like 8 buttons that I'm assigning to do other buttons. I don't need a button to learn how to dash.